the sink, I saw myself through my mother's eyes, and I panicked. A fear twitched inside my gaze, hardening the line of my mouth into something grim and unfriendly. I tried to compensate by forcing a cool, wide smile, but an unhappy clown smirked back at me. Instead, I found a pinkish lipstick in the depths of my purse and pulled my hair into a ponytail. The house itself was tall and thin, with a narrow balcony painted the same oaky green as the front steps. I rang the middle doorbell. My mother appeared before I had a chance to worry that she wouldn't. She stared at me blankly for a moment, then made a face I knew all too well. "You cannot surprise me," it said. I followed her inside and saw that the door to her studio was open. The sight of this made me conscious of a smell, milky and toxic along its edges. She'd been up working already, or, possibly, had never gone to sleep. When we reached the second-floor landing, she went straight to the kitchen without looking back, expecting me to follow. We sat down at the table, lowering our bodies in perfect unison as though this, too, had been prearranged. She was about to say something. I watched her shoulders rise as she inhaled, but she seemed to think better of it immediately and simply turned her head to look out the window. After a moment, she asked, "Are you hungry?" I told her I wasn't. She got up anyway and began to pull things out of her pantry. At first, these were items that made sense. A box of poppy seed crackers, an elegant white carton that looked like it would be filled with truffles or shortbread, a canister of mixed nuts. But after placing these things on the counter, she continued to pull out objects as funny and disparate as a mesh bag of chocolate Hanukkah geld, a box of miniature colored light bulbs, a partially unfolded map. I wondered whether she was looking for something in particular or, having dug into this library of old possessions, was merely distracted by these traces of the past. With a package of batteries in her hand, she paused and looked over the little clump of things that had accumulated. She sighed regretfully, as though each purchase reminded her of a particular error, and together revealed a connected narrative of misjudgment. Then, leaving everything as is, she went over to the stove and filled the Bialetti with fresh coffee. When the coffee was ready, she poured 2 mugs and placed them down in front of us. I told her that I was moving to London in a little under 2 weeks. She began to trace her index finger along a knot of wood in the table. "For work," I added. "Of course," she said. Her finger moved the other way now, and the circles expanded centrifugally away from the knot's center. She stood up. "I want to show you something." We took our coffees down the stairs and into her studio, where the milky smell was so heavy that I brought my hand to my mouth and nose, using the scent of my skin as a shield. I knew the smell. The gum Arabic solution that was applied to metal plates in preparation for printing. Rachel had gone through a lithograph phase when I was 11 or 12, and this creamy odor had lived, for that year, behind her ears and under her fingernails. Inhaling it produced such a strong memory that it had an almost synesthetic effect on me. I could see the long procession of colored prints that she'd leave spread across her studio floor to dry, stripy images of women with inclined heads and cigarettes dangling from between their fingers. Even as a kid, I think I'd recognized that this work was uncharacteristic of her usual style, flatter and almost a little callow, with its brash pink and purple geometry beside, for example, the suggestiveness of 2 puffy, parted lips. But in this new studio that was unfamiliar to me, the floors were bare except for a smattering of thin paper scraps by the paper cutter in the corner. Canvases were propped against the wall, Metal plates